Okay, welcome everybody to the 7th Chinese Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And we'll be here today speaking with some of the Chinese folks who have some GANs experiments and questions they have lined up. And we'll be speaking with Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute, who will be answering questions and delivering the talk for today. Okay, we can move into the, we're going to play the
translation.
Okay, thank you.
大家好，欢迎大家来到第7次
中文网络教学。今天我们可能会有一些个实验要展示，还有可能会跟开始先生提一些问题，然后还有开始先生会参加这个我们的这个教学。Okay,
I'm going to play the Keshe Foundation promotional video now. It'll be 5 minutes.
Where does humanity go from here?
我们现在在播放
What have
这
we tried
个
to do?
纪录片。
What if there is more? Much more. The Keshe Foundation is proud to announce a new way to bring humanity forward through technology that brings humanity in line with the natural operation of the planet and universe itself. The new science and technology discovered and developed by the nuclear engineer Moran Keshe centers upon the use and control of magnetical gravitational fields. This new body of knowledge opens the road to hundreds of potential applications, which offer solutions to most of the fundamental problems of the world, such as water, food, environmental contamination, and shortages of energy. The Keshe Foundation is proud to unveil the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Nestled amidst the beautiful shores of Bari, Italy, the Institute is poised to become a central hub in the spreading of plasma technology and knowledge. With its state-of-the-art 21st century facilities, the Institute will be able to provide students and staff an immersive way to learn the plasma technology, to be the leaders of the new generation of scientists and plasma engineers. The Keshe Foundation has opened the door to the world for peaceful usage of technology that is independent of the limited resources that are available on Earth. This is an understanding of how everything works together in harmony in our universe, and it applies to everything from the smallest to the biggest, from atoms to galaxies. We all are able to collectively work together in pursuit of knowledge, innovation, and solutions for our society. This learning environment is new to the world, where there will be no test to confirm your understanding. The knowledge of everyone will be respected and allowed to flourish in a nurturing environment. Hands-on testing and experimenting will be widely used in conjunction with roundtable discussions to bring all opinions and knowledge forward. Students will be introduced to a change in the ethos of working in collaboration. Students will experience firsthand how we share knowledge in a free and open manner. Graduating students are expected to share the knowledge they gain from the university within their respective communities and nations. All formal teachings, lectures, and presentations will be in the English language, with technology available for immediate translation. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be offering 3-year executive master programs for undergraduate degree students and 1-year executive master programs for graduate degree students in the following fields: space transportation, new plasma technology, health, agriculture, materials, energy. The health section is designed to make students able to live in space without the need to return to Earth. To this end, the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute has found processes for many diseases including ALS, cancer, coma, epilepsy, multiple sclerosis. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will offer online teaching courses which will enable anyone, anywhere around the world to enroll and increase their knowledge and understanding. Students will have the opportunity to direct their work towards commercial spin-offs and seek funding through the help of the Keshe Foundation. The access to the new science and new technologies is openly available for peaceful use to the benefit of mankind to make a better world today. Now you can be part of the changing world and the new knowledge. All commercial spin-offs are intended to be open source and patent-free. This is part of the core ethos of the Keshe Foundation and the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will have its official inauguration on April 21st, 2015, with courses commencing soon after on May 4th, 2015. The students of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute will be the leaders of the future who will make changes in all areas of space technology, science, medicine, agriculture, and energy. Anyone is able to apply, but acceptance is through invitation only. No prerequisites are required. We will be accepting approximately 250 students for the 3-year Executive Master's Program and 120 students for the 1-year Executive Master's Program. We welcome humanity's participation in the knowledge of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Where does humanity go from here? That is up to you. Apply today.
Okay, there's our little introductory video for the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. And now we'll move into the workshop.
刚才这个就是太空船学院的这个宣传片，然后现在我们开始，下面我们将进行到这个教学。
Okay, shall we begin with the questions, or maybe we should hear from Mr. Keshe first there? Would you like to begin, Mr. Keshe, or should we launch into
Yes, no problem. No
Okay.
problem. Thank you very much. Good day, good morning, good evening. It's most probably early evening or sometime in the evening around China, or most of the Chinese listeners. Welcome back to your session of Keshe Foundation Knowledge Seeker session. We would like, in so many ways, for the Chinese community
seem to have lost the connection there temporarily.
Can you hear us?
Nope, you're back. Okay.
Try to. Can you hear us?
Yes. I hear an echo
Yes,
from
now.
here.
Yes. So we need to increase the more collaboration and cooperation with the Chinese Keshe Foundation in different ways, and we hope that we get this support from the Chinese community for this work.
Mr. Keshe, I think your headphones turned on.
Is it better now?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Much better. Okay, now we're on Marcos because the Keshe Foundation site has dropped off. So we are back on 2. What we are doing is, do you want to translate?
Sure. 瑞克问说，现在开始，先生是你想开始吗？然后开始先生说是的，说大家早上好，晚上好。基本上对于我们中国这个学员来说，现在是晚上时间，欢迎大家再回到这个开始基金会的中文网络教学。 我们这一次呢，就是我们现在希望能够更多的和中国的各个方面中国的 team 各个方面来够进行合作。Okay.
Okay, no problem. So we look forward. We look forward for much more rapid growth in teaching with the Chinese community, and in a way, what support you ask from us to be able to do from here now that we have the institute.
我们期望有就是对于中国的这个教学能够有一个大的突破，然后Nathan 你翻译一下，我怎么有点打嗝？
我也没大听清。
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, what is the question? What is new for us to learn from your community?
开始先生问说，那么现在有什么你们今天提供了哪些新的东西我们可以从你们这个里边学到新的东西呢？然后所以说现在希望大家提问题。
Okay, well, we have two. We have a series of questions that I have on the PDF that was given to me here, and we have the questions from WBR51. Do you want to start with that, Lisa?
Sure. WBR 的问题，我看他在 live stream 上啊，就是他的问题就是说如何用干丝反应器制造黄金，还有一个问题就是说太空学院学费的6000欧元都包括哪些费用？I'm going to ask two questions because there are four of them. I'll just ask the first two. First one is how to use a gas reactor to make gold. The second question is what's the 6,000 intuition the Fei covered for the Spaceship Institute the tuition.
Are you reading from what I see on the Skype, the 4 questions? How to use gas
Yes.
reactor?
Yes.
This is in so many ways easy to do, but you've got to know what you are doing to be able to achieve it. It has been done, we can do it, we can repeat it. It was done about 8 years ago in the nuclear gas operating systems. You have to understand the total principality of the gas and how it works and how it dictates in its environment. Notice I use the word principality, not principle. It creates an environment which runs and dictates by its own, according to its gravitational magnetic field, and chooses the position. You can dictate the position where it can be done and manipulate it to achieve it and sustain it and maintain it. With a gas, it's much easier. In the coming time, when man starts traveling in deep space, you will find even planets which contain and actually are made of material what you call gold.
And this is a normal process. It's a natural system where you convert the gas, but you choose a specific gravitational magnetic field, the strength equal to of the gold. That's why I said gold will have no value. It seems the person who asked this question has not understood the principal process of creating matters out of the GANs. It's as easy as making GANs of gold as is to make plutonium as to make iron. In respect to the second question, what is covered in a spaceship issue of 6,000? Just the tuition, the facilities and the teachings.
开始先生回答说，做这个黄金的话呢，其实是一个很简单的事情，关键是你要明白这个就是它这个原理。我们在18年前的话，用这个气体反应器很容易就制造出这个干丝。你要把这个黄金干丝的这个磁场跟它就是跟这个相配。匹配你就可以制造出了，而且就说也是能重复实验的，这个。那关键是就是要就是说磁场要对应起来，还有一个说我们如果到太空，就说制造黄金和制造其他的东西都是一样的原理，都是就是所有的东西制造起来都是一样的，我们到太空去，就是说还会可能遇到就是整个的星体会是由黄金组成的。所以就是说，黄金的话是没有什么特别，就是说跟其他材料比没有什么特别之处，只不过就是说一种元素之一。第二个问题关于这个太空学院的这个6000欧元，这个6000欧元就是学费，就是包括缴学和就是等于就是学费吧，就是交的学费。
Sorry, you're still translating.
I'm done. Okay.
Is it done, or I jumped in the wrong way?
I think she's done there now.
You go ahead. Yeah, I finished.
There is something. They finished. Okay. There is something which we got to explain, and that is. It says here the question number: is there a specific time aliens visit Earth? Yes, they've been doing for thousands of years. You've been blind to it. The other way, the answer to it is the universal community accepts human race when the human race accepts the peace. What we have put out the World Peace Treaty in accepting peace with itself, the human race, then you will see you as aliens amongst the aliens. Put it that way, because as much as you call them aliens, you're aliens to them.
现在开始回答了第三个问题，就是说是不是有第三个问题就是问说是不是有一个特定的时间外星人会访问地球？开始的回答说这个外星人一直在访问我们的地球，就是好像几千年了，一直在访问这里。这个就是说需要我们。人类，我们就说签订这个和平公约，我们的灵魂接受这个和平协议，这样的话呢，以后会有一个就是说，他说是外国人在外国人当中，就是我们对他们来说，我们也是就这种外星人。OK。
The human race has been amongst but been kept out for their behavior. So a lot of people are waiting to have or see, to believe that they are not the only one, but in a way you you've been seen, you've been heard, and you've been rejected due to the behavior of the man. So you will not have the pleasure of being a guest in the universal family as long as especially the world leaders choose the path of war and conflict. And this is one of the reasons we said we finish with the world leadership and governments and religious leadership and the religions. Any reason to create conflict and separation and division in the race of man has come to an end. So now it's upon everyone to be able to rule themselves the correct way, and at the same time to believe in one thing, that the peace is the only path, and then we go ahead, we see where we go.
我们人类呢，对于这个宇宙社区来说，是一直是被，就说是实际上是我们是被看着的，然后但是我们也是被拒绝、排除在外的，因为我们人类本身自己的行为现在呢，就说尤其是对于这些个世界领导人，还有这些个宗教领导人，就说对于这种地球整体的这个分裂的这种意识，还有就是这种战争矛盾，所以他们是最不受欢迎的。所以从这种意义上来说，他们的这个就是说他们已经就是说应该是结束了，就是有我这个，所以最后就说取决于我们自己每一个人，按照我们这个和平的标准来要求我们自己就是我们自己管理我们自己每一个人。
In a way, if you are in a party and everybody's enjoying themselves, calm and serene, and you get drunk and you lose control and start smashing everything up, do you think the party will stop, or you'll get kicked out? You get kicked out till you lose your drunkenness, and then you're brought back in, or you're allowed in if the party is not over yet. It's the same thing with the man and the aliens. There's no aliens. It's just man, because of his behavior, has been kept out of the party. The party is going full blast in the universe. Everybody is enjoying what is available to the creation and what is being created. And then you blame the others just because you've been drunk, or why you've been kicked out. That's the situation why you call them aliens, because the behavior of man is not accepted. And that's why the Keshe Foundation and the work of the foundation is on this basis of, we don't accept world leadership to be needing nationhood or division as a line of invisible life for them to benefit by it. And secondly, no king has ever served the purpose, no president has ever served the purpose of peace, because for them to be, they have to create a conflict that they can protect their territory. So for that reason, man is outside and they call them aliens. Carry on.
这个就是好比是我们在就是开一个晚会，那么一个晚会呢，那么你一个人你喝醉了，然后你就表现出一堆错误的行为，那么这种情况下呢，你这个就说被踢出去的就应该是这个醉汉。所以呢，就是说现在我们这个整个的这个宇宙社区基本上就是这个情况。我们人类呢，由于我们自己的行为，所以等于被排除在外。这样呢，我们就不能怨别人，就是说实际上是我们自己的行为。所以呢，还有一个就是说各国的领导人呐，还有这个。还有这些个就是国王之类皇家嘛，他们就是说没有 就说为人类做很好的，他们应该应尽的服务，他们只是为了他们自己的利益，然后制造各种冲突，所以他们这些个人就是应该是最早结束的。所以我们基金会呢是需要提倡就是和平。
Mr. Keshe, there is a question in the live stream you can not answer if you choose. Did you ever meet aliens?
I've been called to be an alien, but somebody was very close to the foundation. I just got a proof of it.
I think a few of us have probably insinuated that with you.
Do you want to translate?
瑞克问说，现在 live stream 里有个问题说，凯士先生，你自己见过外星人吗？然后凯士先生回答说，我被那个跟基金会比较接近的一些人他们把我叫做外星人。
As they say, she's a doctor, she knows better. It is said crystal is a special kind of substance. Could you comment on that? Yes, crystals are, in a way, a straight line magnetic field interactions. And this comes from the structure of the balance fields in the inner sanctums of the structure in respect to how the fields are radiated internally. That is both gravitational and magnetic fields. Crystal structures get that material structure not in a GANS state, but in a matter state, where the gravitational magnetic field, due to the environmental pressures, creates more or less a transition balance condition between the both gravity and magnetic field. And in majority of cases, it leads to the straight line flow boundary. So crystals are in so many ways their shape or their property is dictated not only by themselves but by environmental conditions when it's in a balanced condition. That's why we call it crystal lattice behavior, like diamond. A GANS, if you tested it, is a zero, what do you call it, infinity resistance. But when you change it or rotate it, or you create a new environment, it behaves totally as a superconductor with zero resistance. So crystals are a specific shape. It's the same atomic structure, but very much the internal balance between the fields and outside dictates a straight line of flow of fields, where plasma is usually spherical. And it's very, very special conditions you get this.
下一个问题问是说，晶体是一种特殊的物质，那么就是问是这样子的吗？开始回答说，这个晶体的话呢，就说它由于它的内部磁引力场的这个平衡性，还有它和外部场的这个交互作用，决定了这个晶体呢，它会制造一个特殊的这种引力场，而且可以有这个过度磁场的。引力场能够释放出过度磁引力场，还有就是它从某些方面讲，这个是就是说由于它有一个晶格就是它的晶体排列，所以使得它能有一些个特性，还有就是说有点就是干丝的话呢，他说如果 有的时候可以是超导体，有的时候是这块我没听清楚。
Maybe we can carry on. Sorry.
那个石头，你能翻译一下？这是还有什么补充一下？
Maybe we can add all the 4 questions into one answer. Yes, there are aliens which are made of crystal gold, and they don't have to pay 6,000 tuition fee.
Beautiful,
You can
beautiful.
translate.
开始回答说，可能也许我们可以把4个问题合并成一个问题来回答呢，就是说有外星人是由黄金这个晶体组成的。
Well, that seems to lead directly into the next question as well. You might as well include that in your full answer. You mentioned plasma and the spherical shape, and this is from Curl. And he says, this is my understanding about plasma. Is it correct? In a way, Mr. Keshe, we could think of this as someone that's taken the first course in the university, and they're now getting feedback from their understanding, and this is sort of a way they could do that through various means.
I don't understand what you're talking about. I'm lost.
Sorry, Curl says, this is my understanding about plasma, this picture he's created. Is it correct? And I was thinking, well, this could be part of the university teaching, would be if people get taught in a certain way and then they come back to you and others that are teachers and say, this is my understanding about plasma. Is this correct? Did I get what you said correctly, basically? They're asking for input. Maybe it'll work that way.
You have to twist it the other way around. If you're talking what we call commonly as positron or Venus, yes, near enough. But you have to strengthen the line on the top compared to the bottom. And at the same time, if you go back to some of the teachings a few weeks ago, the strength of the fields from the exit pole is always more than the entry point. And if you go as a positron, you're correct, but as an electron, you're wrong. It should be twisted the other way around.
这个问题是科尔问的，就是瑞克问说这个是我就是说大家能看到吧？说这个是等离子体结构的图，然后不知道理解的对不对？然后瑞克解释说这个就是可能就是说我们如果在太空学院开学的话，然后呢这个学生就会上来通过以前的学习，然后就会上来问说这个是我的理解，然后说问老师这个对不对？然后开始解释说这个图呢是就说如果你这个线呢你要抻直了就可能会好一点，而且呢就是说从上面出来的话应该是比下面要强一些，就比回去的要强。然后说我们以前有一个教学关于等离子体的图。说如果这个是正电子 positron， 他说可能会对一点，但是说电子的话不是这个样子的。
Next question.
Okay, let me get that lined up here. We've got.
Do we have anything new from the Chinese community to show us?
There'll be.
Yes, I think.
Yeah, we'll be.
I think the next one is new.
Next one is not new. I think I
No.
asked Mr. Keshe before, but still have some more questions.
Yeah, well, he mentions about this battery that's been put together with 0.2 milliliters of liquid mixed with aluminum, CO2, and CH3 GANs. Has been more than 2 months, but there's still about a current of 50 milliamps to 200 milliamps. The current is up and down. Well, he goes on, for the second and third figure, this battery, aluminum, I can't do both, aluminum and CO2 and CH3 mixed into the container began when the measured current with tens of microamps over a month later to 50 milliamps, and then it rose to 200 milliamps. Current at 50 between 200 milliamps, it flutters. Problem is that the battery's been more than 2 months, the internal moisture is completely dry, and why is there such high energy? Is not that in the process of generating a plasma pressure may not need water? I guess what he's saying is it may not need water to develop that plasma pressure as he's able to get the voltage from a dry environment. Do you want to translate that first, Lisa?
好的 ，OK。这个就是说，现在是一个问题，就是问题是说有一个电池有0.2毫米的液体，然后用铝和二氧化碳还有 CH3 就是说就2个多月了，还有电流，这个电流呢就可能从50到200毫安上下浮动，然后同时呢，他说这个电池呢已经好几个月以后已经干了，干了以后呢，它就是这个电流会是往上升。会逐步往上升，但是呢，它还是有，完全干了也还是有电流。问说为什么？就是说，好像似乎是应该不需要等产生这个等离子体压力过程中，是不是可以不需要水，就还是有能量
？Can you explain to me exactly what we are trying, or you're asking, or what the question is? Because I don't understand.
Okay, the way I understand it is that this is a GANS battery, and the battery has the aluminum, CO2, and CH3 GANs in it. And when it began, it measured tens of microamps. Over a month later, it went to 50 milliamps, and then it rose to 200 milliamps. So now the battery has dried out after 2 months, and there's still this high energy. And he's wondering about, is that the process of generating a plasma pressure may not need the water? We've mentioned water being part of that process in the past. Is it possible that the dry condition will still produce the plasma pressure?
We are running a test now with the Japanese government in that respect. I don't know how far it's got to, where we are looking at this structure and the possibilities of it. The dry GANS has the same kind of effect as GANS with a matter or liquid in it, but because of interaction between each cell, the field distribution is totally different. Even though it looks dry, powderish, still there is a certain amount of what we call moisture inside it. There is a part, do you want to translate?
OK，这个开始先生解释说这个的话，就干丝呢，它如果就说可能就说没有很多液体的时候，它会就是跟这个就是有液体的时候，可能这个场分布呢会完全不一样说这个干丝呢，你看上去是干了，实际上仍然会有一些个这个湿度在里边。
Is the magnetic gravitational field distribution balance, irrespective of what matter being salt or water inside it, which releases the energy. Maybe we can add to the knowledge, this is what we discussed in the other teachings, and that is, there is a huge, very much misconception and misguidance in the world of science in respect to behavior of matter. In the world of speed and light, the misguided Einstein called speed of light the ultimate light speed. And this misinformation by such misguided scientists has put a huge barrier on the knowledge of man and gaining knowledge. There is the same kind of misguided information in the other end of the spectrum in regarding to the speed too, where the present knowledge is that at minus 270 degrees, what they call absolute zero, the entity, there is no motion and there is no movement. In fact, can we go on camera, please? In fact, if our scientists and the people who understand now the behavior of GANs and the behavior of matter, in one drawing you understand how wrong again has been the concept by the scientist. An electron rotates around a nucleus. Doesn't matter how many protons or electrons, how many neutrons you have in either position, as electrons or nucleus. In the present science, we say if we change the temperature, which is against the friction between the fields, to what we call minus 270 degrees or 270 degrees, absolute zero, then the matter becomes what we call in a position that has no motion. But in the past few weeks and few months in our teachings, we have understood that the fields of the twin systems, exit goes to entry and entry to exit, either way you want to look at it. So what has been the misguidance in the knowledge has been that even though you stop the motion in a physical matter, you cannot stop the motion in a field. So the absolute minus 273 degrees is absolute nonsense and only applies in a matter state at a level of matter where fields still flow between the two entities. So there is not that because you don't see physicality, physical motion between the electron and the proton or whatever protons and neutrons, that the entity has stopped life and it doesn't work. and it's a stop motion. Where in fact, even to be in that position, you have to and be able, and you can see that the fields flow between the two. So nowhere, anywhere in the universe you can create absolute zero motion. In a matter state, maybe. But in fact, the flow of the fields dictates that even in that position, that the outer phase position is locked, but still the material, the fields flow between the two. So, as we said, the speed of light is not the ultimate, which is there. Now we have to understand the same mistake has been made in respect to the other end as the slowest motion that becomes to zero. Can you translate this if it's not too hard?
Yes，这个就是我们讲到就是这个你从这个电池讲嘛，说这个如果水就说是看上去没有了，实际上是还是应有的，它是这个有一个场的分布然后这里边呢开始说我现在就是说把这个知识给大家增加一下，就是说在这个现在的我们这个世界里边有几个就是说巨大的这种误区，就是这种错误的理解，一个就是爱因斯坦的这个相对论里边这个光速不可以超越实际上我们知道它是可以超越的。还有另外一个点就是说当达到这个绝对零度的时候，就是零下-273度这个的时候呢就是说它是说这个物质呢就是停止了运动我们实际上我们说呢就是说这个物质呢虽然停止了运动，但是这个场是不会停止的比如说举个例子，他说我们有电子有原子核，然后呢如果是当0度的时候，可能这个就会静止了，实际上这个是不可能的然后开始这里边画了一个就是这个无限环的这个圈说这个场呢实际在内部还是在运动的如果说不运动的话，只是说物质在物质层次上才不运动就是这样。
In fact, if we go deeper into understanding, is that if you remember, we explained that the position of the sun in respect to Venus has created a magnetic gravitational field force that has led to the rotation of the Venus in a clockwise direction. Do you want to translate, please?
这个还有一个另外的例子，就是太阳和金星它们之间的磁引力场的作用，使得这个金星有一个这个顺时针的旋转。
Where, like Earth, before the position of Venus in respect to Sun created the rotation of the Venus anti-clockwise.
然后这个地球的就是所在的位置，使得就是说跟这个就是说以太阳为参照系的话，影响的金星是使得给了它一个就是逆时针的旋转。
Where to go from clockwise or go from anti-clockwise to clockwise, the Venus had to come to a point of standstill, that it was not rotating clockwise or anti-clockwise, and had the position of the what I call static motion. So somewhere at this point, between the change of the direction of the flow from clockwise to anti-clockwise, it has reached a zero motion, that it comes to a halt, stops and reverses. So if this understood, then it is very clear and it's very, very obvious for any man of science to understand that the stop or a halt or bringing to a stop any plasmatic material existence, be the matter, be the gas, be the GANs, it is dictated by the strength of the gravitational magnetic field of the entity in the center or in the environment in respect to itself. So you can create zero motion at minus 120 degrees, 270 degrees by just bringing a condition of gravitational magnetic field strength in between two entities. So what has been assumed that the absolute minus 270 degrees is a point of freeze that nothing moves, there is no life, has been the misguidance of the science to understand that in that kind of environment, a gravitational magnetic field environment in the environment of the plasma of the proton, electron, neutrons, atomic or molecular structure is created, that it creates a balanced field that is a zero motion. And so the condition of the temperature or environmental temperature is a creation of a given state of gravitational magnetic field balance, which makes the field transition between different plasmas equal with no forces, or what you call a static condition. Do you want to translate?
Yeah，这个就说由于这个太阳和地球共同作用，使得金星的，就是说能够会有一个处于一个平衡的位置，在这一点上来说呢，它就等于是因为一个是顺时针，一个是反时针，那么它就可以不转，就是处于一种相对的静止状态。所以呢，就是说，这种静止状态呢，是由于这个场的这个环境所造成的然后同样的原理就是说，对于这个绝对零度来说呢，这个物质的话，这个电子和质子，就是说电子和质子，就是说被处于这种状态，实际上是这个温度给了它一个这种场，使得它呢就是处于一种平衡状态。实际上不是说在这种情况下，就是说生命就不存在的，一切都是静止的。
So, for the first time, we can understand and explain that the zero motion of a plasma or a plasmatic environment can be created by just adjusting the gravitational magnetic field between two entities, where the gravitational and magnetical field strength creates a balanced zero force motion or field force motion, that the entity does not create any motion itself. If you understand this simply, you will understand one of the most important essence of creation. And that is, carry on, translate.
OK，所以说我们就说这种绝对零度的这个状态，实际上是我们可以用两个个体，让它们之间产生一种这个磁引力场的这个平衡，就这使得它们能够处于一种相对静止的状态。就是如果大家明白了这一点的话，就明白了这个造物的这个原理机制。
What you will understand is that the matter entity has a connection in fields which is irrelevant of the physicality or motion of the physicality. And in essence, the electron and a proton electron or a nucleus, electron or a neutron, or the RNA are the physicality, and the fields are the soul, are the interaction, or what you call DNA is the field, and is the entities of the plasma, and RNA is the what you call the information or the fields. So in so many ways, it should be easy to understand that motion of the entity is in fact dictated by, created by, and positioned and strengthened by the fields, and what is inside the entity on its own which creates the field. So what you call in the world of medicine RNA is dictator of what you call the manifestation of the physicality, what you call DNA. And then it's the information or the field which dictates the presence and the manifestation of the physicality of the entity, which what you call human, or amino acids, or whatever you want to call it.
OK，现在是这样，就是说我们有两个，就是两个个体，一个是比如说我们可以给叫电子，一个呢个体我们给它叫原子核或者质子中子原子核，实际上呢是它们这两个个体是由一个场是连接在一起的那么这个场呢我们给它叫 RNA 是它的灵魂，然后这个场是 DNA， 我们叫然后它们的就是说它们每个的个体是由它们这个整体，它们的这种就是说每个个体和相互之间的这种运动和连接呢是由场来决定的，是由于它们内部的这个 RNA 来决定。
So yeah. Yes, we're just trying. Is it better now? Does it look any better, or has it got worse, or you lost it altogether? If I put it this way. Can you give us just let me see what we can do for you here, because we are setting up in the institute, in the lab, so these things will be sorted in the coming days. So is it better now? So, let me clean your lenses a bit. Are you any better? No. So
It looks to be just a bandwidth problem. It might get better. Are you using wireless, Mr. Keshe?
For me it's fine.
Yes.
I can looks to me it's good.
It's good. So have you translated it, Lisa, or do you want to still carry on?
I already translated.
Okay.
Yeah, carry on.
So
Yeah.
what in fact we learn from this is the existence, as human always are looking for physicality to confirm the existence. The temperature minus 270 degrees is not needed to create a static motion of the matters in respect to each other. And if you understand this, 2 point comes out with what we spoke about again. Just because they do not move, it doesn't mean that there is no energies released, because the fields are still floating between the entities. And the plasmas are still releasing energy from internally because the fields flow. So again, in your container, you're looking for physical motion to confirm that you're producing, because you are used to in a dynamic motor. A rotor has to turn in a or in a magnetic, what do you call it, in a copper coil, that it creates something out of it that justifies your physical observation of the motion of the rotor. In the world of creation, there is no need for motion to release energy in a physical point of observation. Do you want to translate?
Yes，就是我们每一个群友，比如一个人，我们现在的话，就说大部分一直在看我们的这个物理的身体，老是从这个物理的这个物质上边来寻找答案。实际上，我们在这个就是说是要到273度才可以静止不动的话，这个是不需要的。只要是就是说，我们这个场能够保持2个相对静止，就是制造一个这场就可以。还有一个呢，就是说如果不动的话呢，我们就会觉得好像就是一切就静止了，也没有能量了。我们平时总是要说这马达要转，就说一切要运动才有，实际上不是这样子的。我们就是说，即使看这个钢丝不运动时的话，它也仍然有能量往外释放，这个场还是在运动中的。
The same thing goes with the human body. If you touch your muscles, your tissues, they are entity in a solid state, but at the same time they are in a gas state. And if you, again, what we say, you cannot freeze the GANs, but if you extract the water amongst the GANs totally, but be able to do it, you do not freeze it. You create a condition that, as I said before, you extend the bandwidth of the matter to be more in interaction with each other, or what you call a solid pack condition. So the state of solidification is to the man's eye and line of thinking of behavior, that if something is free, it has to move. In the world of creation and in the world of plasma, it's the fields which move, and the consequence of that movement, if the field pressures are in the right proportion and position and condition, creates motion, if these are met. But not necessarily that the fields are not in motion at different strengths and between different plasmas. And that's why you make a mistake just because you don't see any water or any liquidity. You think, how come it's creating energy? Because the plasma's fields are still more transferring from one gas to another, and that motion of the plasma field creates the current which you observe. So move away from the physicality, understand the real operation of the plasma and the fields of the plasma, then this question does not exist.
然后这个是我们下一个例，就是说我们的人体，实际上我们人体是处于干丝状态。然后你觉得看到人就是说不动的话，以为就是没有能量释放，实际上不是这个样子的。还有就是说举个例子，就是说这种固体变成，就是说0度以后变成固体就感觉就是都不运动。我这段没听好啊。然后说实际上不是这样子的，这个场仍然是会运动这个等离子体场仍然从一个干丝运动到另外一个干丝。我们要就是说抛开这个，我们不要就是说一直要看这个物质的这个情况来决定来理解这个等离子体场。就这么多。
So in so many ways, do we need to observe and consider these kind of positions and ask these questions? Why there is no water but you get energy? Why the matter comes to a standstill even at minus 270 degrees? Is there any truth to any of this? And this is where we have to draw a line.
Mr. Keshe, can you just check your microphone, please?
Yes, we are up to no good here. You'll understand in a minute why. We are up to something easy for you lot. But let us try while we're talking. We're trying because we have a different options being here. In fact, what you understand is that an atom does not need to move to create energy. A molecule does not need to be in physical motion to create energy. And this is part of the problem, that the questions like this arises for the scientists who work or try to work with the GANs. And then they say, oh, Mr. Keshe said this and this doesn't happen. Because you understand as much as you understand the totality of the physical structure. And when you still live in a world of what I call schizophrenic between matter and plasma, then you have this problem. Where the plasma does not behave as a matter because it creates its own field motion. Do you want to translate?
Yes, yes，这个在很多方面讲，就是说，我们以为观察到，以为说没水了，怎么就还是能有这个，就是有电，还有就比如说另外一方面，就是说我们老是想着需要运动，实际上呢，就是说原子呢不需要运动也能释放能量，分子呢同样是这样子的，也不需要运动。我们呢，现在考虑问题呢，就是说现在面临着一个，就是说我们需要有一个整体的考虑这个问题，不应该就是不要就是还是用这个就是原来的这个习惯，这样我们就有一个就是等于是分裂的状态。就是一个是等离子体，一个是物质，老用这个就是说物质这方面来去思考问题，因为这个等离子体的表现形式和物质的表现形式是不一样的。即使你看它不运动，实际上这个等离子体它的这个场还是在运动的。所以说原子分子或者这个等离子体不需要就是说我们看到这个物质上的运动，仍然就是可以有能量释放。
So now I think we answered your question in so many ways, that why you see to you a dry matter, but it surprises you that this matter is creating energy. Because you're looking at a physical motion and not what we call a reality in a plasma environment.
所以说所以说你就会就说有这个问题，为什么就说没水了仍然会有这个能量产生实际上呢，你应该就是说是这个在等离子体的情况下，这个还没听清是仍然会有能量的释放。
So in reality, if you look at the operation of your systems, you have to very easily, you have to be able to easily understand you're working with the field flows and not with the matter motion. And with the salt or water dissolving does not mean that the field strength and the field connection between the two has disappeared. So the fields exist amongst the two entities, And this field allows the creation and interaction of the fields which their friction between the two of the same, which means you have another GANs which is near to this, which is this one, and you have another electron which is this one, and the interaction between these four field forces creates a plasmatic magnetic field strength in this region which is equal to plasma of a motion of an electron which you collect as a current. So this is why. Carry on.
OK，这就是你要就是说你要看到它这个实相，就是你的实际情况，你的系统你要明白，就是这个是一个场的相互作用。虽然水不在那里，但是呢，这两个系统的场互相之间呢会仍然会有连接，然后相互作用，它们场之间会摩擦。他说现在这画了一个图嘛，说如果一个里边等离子体有两个场，然后另外两个，那么这4个之间呢就会相互作用。那么在中间呢，你就会有一个区域的话呢，就会等于你的相当于你电子的这个运动的这个场的强度，也就是说我们能够有电流存在。
So in fact, it's our own miscomprehension of the reality which leads to this position, where if we understand that in a plasma there is never a zero position of motion. So you always have motion and you always have interaction between the fields, which their interaction releases a plasma equal to the plasma of the bandwidth of an electron. An electron moves within a bandwidth, and this bandwidth has certain plasma gravitational magnetic field. And that's why, that's why when this interaction in the GANs is equal to this, on your systems you observe current.
这个就说我们一定要学会这种就说实际上是我们对于这个我们的这个对于这个世界的这个理解然后说需要我们就是说用这个场的这个观点来思考这个问题，就是说即使是我们看不到这个物质的运动，仍然有这个场的运动，这个场是永远是在这里运动的，还有相互作用的就是说如果这个场的相互作用有一个形成一个带宽，正好这个在这个带宽在这个区域里边是相当于电子的这个运动的这个场强的话，那么就会产生电流存在。石头，你再补充一下吗？
So I hope I answered you with that question, why you're observing current when it's dried up. Physical motion, physical entity does not represent the plasma interaction magnetic gravitational field. And actually what you observe, actually what you observe confirms that the matter you have in your container is a pure plasma gas condition, a GANs condition.
所以说希望我这个能回答了你这个问题，就是说实际上呢，这个场是永远是在运动当中的，即使就是而且也证明了你的在这个就是说你观察到这个电流的话，证明你这个封闭的容器里边是有一个纯粹的这个等离子体的这个干湿的环境。
So in fact, today with your question, we have answered and cleared another hypocrisy in the world of science, that at 0 degree everything stops. It actually creates the environment of minus 270 degree is a gravitational magnetic field environment condition which creates balance between the proton or a nucleus and the electron. which in turn gives the man the visualization of no motion.
今天通过你的实验，实际上是给我们一个机会，更证明、说明，就是说以前的一个误区，就是误解，大家认为在零下负273度就是绝对0度的时候，这个使得这个电子和就是说原子核没有相对运动。实际上呢，这只是一个就是说磁引力场使得它们没有，就是说在物质层次上没有这个运动。而实际上是这个场是仍然在运动的。
也就是说，这个就是说这个环境的场的环境给这些原子里面的中子、电子、质子呢，都给它们达到一个均衡，让它们相互之间均衡，就是保持一个静止。实际上呢，它们之间还是在相互作用的。OK.
So in fact, the non-movement, or what you call a static condition, what is presumed to be, confirms that the fields still flow within the center of the plasmas as they cross the center of the plasma itself. And the absolute zero temperature, which is assumed, is in fact applicable only to matter state on planet Earth and nowhere else. According to the Earth gravitational magnetical field, and in respect to the position of the solar system in this galaxy and in the universe, where you can obtain such a condition again in another point in the universe if you can replicate the same condition.
石头，你翻译吧，能吗？我说吧，是这样，所以说呢，这个0度这种就说原子核和原子不运动，这个只是发生在于我们这个地球上边，我们这个磁引力场的环境下才使得这个物质上表现出这种状态。如果我们能够在这个另外一个地点也能就说复制这个情况的话，这块没听清楚啊。
就是说这个绝对0度只是在地球的这个环境下，那么实际上这样的一种环境要达成的是取决于这个位置在太阳系中的位置，或者是在宇宙中的这个相对的位置来决定的。然后如果说在宇宙的另外一个点，你同样也能复制相同的情况，不过可能会跟这个地球的情况是有所区别的。OK.
Mr. Keshe, it's now time for the health teaching workshop, unless you'd like to continue on this line of thought for a little longer.
In a way, this applies to the health too. It's no different. Everything doesn't have to be going to carry on to the health. This is part of the health teaching too. Because if you understand this process, then you understand the process of the working of the RNA and DNA in the human body. That's what I said. From now on, the whole total teaching merges and mixes and joins the other parts to make sense, what it means and what it does. The RNA and DNA are the same. So in so many ways, this has been another misconception in the world of science, and physicists came up with this idea of minus 273 degrees, or what they call absolute zero. That's the absolute zero in a matter state at the man's amino acid level. The same as what misguided Einstein said about the speed of light is the ultimate speed. The speed of light is the ultimate speed at the speed of the strength of the amino acid of the man's magnetic gravitational field strength, and that's the only point. And even that is disputable because different beings have different amino acid strength, so the speed of light, even for different man, is different than the others. Does not matter how you measure it.
OK，
Translate.
刚才瑞克说我们可能是不是需要结束了，然后要进行到这个健康教学，然后开始说实际上这个应该也是健康教学的一部分。说我们说了说需要各部分都就是说应该是所有的课程应该交织在一起，然后就说这个 DNA 和 RNA 呢实际上是一回事儿还有。我们这个就像说这个绝对零度是一个就是一个错误，还有这个光速是极限也是一样子的。说我们这是由于我们自己人类我们自己的这个 RNA 和 DNA 就是我们的这个氨基酸所决定的。实际上呢我们的就是说还有这个绝对零度也是，如果要是不同的就是说如果不同的存在会有具有不同的这个氨基酸不同的结构的话，那么这个光速对他们来说是就是说也是不一样的就是说不管你用什么方法测，还有这个绝对零度就是说不运动也是不一样的。是这个意思。你再翻译一下，我怎么有点乱？
我再补充一下后面那半段，就是说到这个光速极限的问题，就是提到实际上这是取决于这个我们观察者，也就是人类它的这个蛋白质的这个场强，就是蛋白质的次引力场的场强来决定这个光的速度。如果说不同的生物它有不同的这个蛋白质的这个场强的话，那么它的这个光速的极限速度是不一样的。OK。
Any other question in this respect?
开始说还有其他的问题吗？在这方面？Let me see what other questions. Yeah. OK，瑞克说是不是我们可以
Is it possible that we could bring the Chinese teaching session to every week than every other week, or is it a lack of or is there a problem to do this?
Probably we don't have the time and
the position to do it. Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
I think we'll solve this when Mr. Hoy is here with us on the opening of the institute.
Okay.
Somehow we can. I said, okay, thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much indeed.
那我们今天是不是教学就到这里了？然后我说感谢凯什先生说感谢大家，然后也感谢瑞克和温斯还有其他的就是在后底备工作人员。Rick, do you want to say the
final ending? Sure. Well,
yes.
Okay, I guess that
we can do the projection on that to be picked up.
Brings to an end the 7th Chinese Knowledge Seekers Workshop. Thank you, everybody, for attending.
瑞克说这现在我们这个第7次中文开始网络教学结束了感谢大家的参加。
And for
Thank
those,
you very much and goodbye.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Bye bye.
Mr. Keshe.
Can I just add to one thing? If you are interested to join the institute from China, please try to, in one way or another, submit your application directly to the foundation on the keshefoundation.org, the Spaceship Institute. And we need a large number of Chinese knowledge seekers to be able to translate the knowledge rapidly across China.
开始先生说，我能现在加一点吗？我们就非常欢迎广大的中国的这个人员来参加我们开始基金会的这个学习。如果大家有兴趣的话，可以到我们基金会的网站，就是 keshefoundation.org 这个网站来填写报名。就是说，或者在来到学院里，就是来到这里，或者在国内，反正以哪种方式学习，我们需要很多的这个学员、知识寻求者来使得我们的知识能够传播。
Thank you very much and goodbye.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.